10 to 12% body fat category, aka most people usually want to get here. But if you think you're here, you're probably not. But let me explain how you will know when you are there. Body fat percentage is explained. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of it wrong. So let's talk about it. How many of you have seen this chart online? Which it's not terrible, but it's led you to ask the question, is it socially acceptable for me to be posting shirtless pictures with my dick root nearly hanging out? The only problem with the chart is most people guess their body fat percentage really, really wrong, because I feel like this chart is missing some very crucial data. Main things being the things I'm going to go over in this video. So in this video, I'm not only going to tell you what every body fat percentage looks like, but also I'm going to show you real life examples. I'm going to tell you kind of what they feel like and how to know when you're actually there. Now, of course, it's still going to be pretty generalized. And it's really hard to make like a kind of one style fits all approach in fitness for anything really. But of course we're going to be doing our best. So let's get into it. But first I need to set some ground rules here. Okay. Men and women are different. And I mean, in terms of body fat, by that I mean women need to hold more essential body fat than men. Now that that's out of the way, let's dive right into it. And jumping off of one eggshell onto another one, we're going to be starting off with the kind of peel off the Band-Aid portion. We're starting with men with a body fat percentage from 25 to 30%. You are what some people would label as big boned, I would say. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but on average, you are not healthy and you are not at a healthy body fat percentage. You might not feel the greatest. Chances are you don't really work out or train or pay attention to what you look like at all, really. So if you want to know how to get to this body fat percentage, that's how you get there. If I had to describe it as a look, I would say it's like a dad bod. What does it feel like? For a lot of people, you feel pretty average, feel pretty normal, at least for Americans. But for some people, this is even like a state of being too heavy. You actually feel like shit. Notable differences to tell if you're at this body fat percentage or not is if you have overhang on your like love handles. I don't mean like a little bit. You can have a little bit at like single digit body fat. I mean like you have a substantial amount. You have a muffin top. Okay. So, this is a good picture of what this body fat percentage looks like. And, this is me at the ripe age of 14, that young fella right there. So, next for women, let's start off with 30 to 35%. On average, this means that you are in the medically overweight or obese category, which means you are not healthy in most cases. Yeah, I know that it's like blasphemy to say that you're not healthy on average in certain ways, but yeah, you're not. Okay. It is, like I said, technically medically overweight or obese. You're storing fat pretty much everywhere, but namely you are storing a lot of more body fat in the women specific areas, hips, butt, boobs, abdominals, everything. Really, you're storing fat everywhere, inner thighs, all of it. But a really good like key indicator of this body fat percentage is if your face starts to round out a lot more. Women, they usually tend to hold a pretty lean face, or their face doesn't really change shape too much. But if you are in this category, you will notice a little bit more chubby cheeks. You will notice a little bit more rounding of the face. Here's some good examples of what 30 to 35% body fat looks like for women. But yeah. Now, for the boys, we are at the 20 to 25% category. So this, in my opinion, is what every human should ideally be at, bare minimum. If you are just a guy, a regular guy who is concerned about your health and well-being and just wants to live a long life, you don't care about aesthetics, at least get here. 20 to 25% body fat, you are officially in the heart healthy range. You are no longer overweight or obese. Of course, that also depends on your actual weight, but on average, you are not overweight or obese. How do you know if you're in this body fat percentage? So you are not too fat, not too skinny. You kind of don't have really any separation or vascularity at all. What you're doing is you're kind of rocking that default Sims build. You know, you don't really have any defining features at all. Whenever somebody looks at you, you give the same impression that they would get if they ate a bologna sandwich. You know, like you don't have anything notable unless you're like really fucking jacked. Okay. Here's a pretty good examples of what this body fat percentage looks like. We have this photo of Mike Diamonds in this like bulked up state. We have this incriminating picture of Jesse from Athlean X, this picture of Eric Roberts, and then we have this picture of me at Planet Fitness at the ripe age of 18. We all got to start somewhere, I guess. By the way, video coming out on getting fit at Planet Fitness with a free program soon. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt y'all's regularly scheduled program, but I just wanted to ask a quick favor of you guys. If you guys could subscribe and like, that would be amazing. I'm really trying to reach as much people as I can, help as many people as possible. I just recently hit the 100 subscriber mile mark, which is obviously like I'm stoked about it. But I'm really trying to grow even more and just see where I can take this bad boy. Thank you guys so much for all the support, and I truly do appreciate all of you. Please subscribe and let's take this thing to the top. The gals. Next benchmark for women is between 27 to 29% body fat. You look pretty good. You look like, there's still some fat stored everywhere, but you have a nice like shape to you. You have good shape with some like loose skin in the stomach. That's the best way to know like what, if you're at this body fat percentage, and that's the best example of like what this body fat percentage looks like. Like I said, kind of like men, this is what you should ideally strive to be at if you are not at this already, and you don't really care about looks at all. Once again, kind of just that default Sims build. Here's a good example photo of what that looks like. What does it feel like to be at these two body fat percentages? For men and for women, you feel good. You feel pretty average. You just feel normal. You feel like you can, do something athletic if you really need to. You feel like you can perform. You feel like you can go swimming. You feel like you may be able to go on a run. Of course, that depends on if you do running. You don't feel limited by your weight at all. That's really what this body fat percentage feels like. Unless, of course, you're like the tippity top elite athlete, then you may feel like Men, next we have 15 to 17-ish% body fat. This is when we start getting into the athlete phase, or just your friend who doesn't even work out and just has really good genetics phase. So in this body fat percentage, what does it look like? You start to have a little bit of an outline of abs. Your arms should be lean. If your arms aren't lean and they're fat, you're not at this body fat percentage. Get leaner. Now, of course, that doesn't mean if you have no definition in your arms at all, you're not at this body fat percentage. It also could just mean you don't have big enough arms. Yeah, you start to have a little bit of the abs appearing in. Abs are poking through. How do you feel at this body fat percentage? You feel athletic. You feel great. Okay. You feel amazing. This is like what's ideally. So 20 to 25% is like somebody who doesn't care about looks at all, that's they should get at. This is the body fat percentage that I would ideally want everybody to get to. Because then everybody would be nice and athletic. Wouldn't be fat. Wouldn't have much health issues. This would be a great body fat percentage for actually packing on strength and size. This is the body fat percentage a lot of like swimmers, MMA athletes, stuff like that tend to fall into. Good examples of these kind of body fat percentage is this rather unpopular fellow right here. This photo of Nate Diaz.
You little fat skinny. Yeah, right. No one knows what gazelle is anyway.
Here's another good like little photo I pirated off Shutterstock. Next benchmark for women is between 24 to 26% body fat. Like I said, kind of with the men earlier, you're neither too slim nor too big. Like you're just kind of in between. You still have a little bit of fat on the arms, butt, and hips, but your muscles are starting to pop through and your core is starting to kind of like slim down. You're starting to get a lot more flat. This is a great body fat percentage to be at. What does it feel like? Personally, I'm not a woman, so I wouldn't know. But if I had to guess, you feel pretty good. You feel pretty lean. Like I said, kind of previous to the men, this is where you'd ideally want to be at for athletic performance. What are good examples of this body fat percentage? Take this photo of Nikki Black and Meg squats. Whenever women start lifting, usually this is kind of the body fat percentage they want to get to. This and the next one, it's kind of like a weird, like a mixture of those two is usually the body fat percentage women want to get to. Men, 13 to 15% body fat. I would say in this body fat percentage, you look good. Pause. Usually whenever dudes start working out, they're either trying to get a flat stomach or abs. And this is kind of the flat stomach look, I guess you would say. So you are really working on bringing in those abs, especially the closer you get to 13% body fat. Even in the right lighting, you may actually just have abs in the right lighting. A lot of people, like, they'll be completely happy with whenever they get this body fat. But yeah, veins start popping out a little bit more. Of course, that's genetic dependent, but veins are popping out a little bit more. Ego starts to arise a little bit. And if you catch you after a pump, you may think you want to compete. Anyways, but here's good examples of this body fat percentage. We have Jeff Nippard. We have Tony Ferguson. Alpha Destiny, and Jason Momoa. God damn, I wish I looked like Jason Momoa at 15% body fat, bro. And I look like a melted Altoid. Jesus Christ. Next is 21 to 23% body fat for women. So we're really reaching into the athletic territory. So in this body fat percentage, you have some ab definition appearing through. Usually you get the like center line really defined. And, yeah, the sides are really slimming out. You're not really having any kind of like overhang at all. There's still a bit of fat on the legs and butt and stuff, but not very much. But not very much. At this body fat percentage, you feel pretty damn good. These like in the teens kind of body fat percentage for men and these like low 20 body fat percentages for women, they'll kind of feel the same, really. Feel good and athletic. You don't feel fat. You feel pretty good. That's really what these body fat percentage all kind of feel like. Now, good examples of this body fat percentage. Think of like Simone Biles in that one like off-season pick and Summer Rae. Those are good examples of this body fat percentage. So for men, next is the 10 to 12% body fat category, aka most people usually want to get here. But if you think you're here, you're probably not. Let me explain how you will know when you are there. So in this body fat percentage, how do I describe this slightly? You have abs. Like, in every lighting, okay? It's not like fucking when the planets align, you know, I have heavy downlighting and I'm oiled up and tanned up. No, you have abs regardless. Like, you don't have to have a pump. You don't have to be in downlighting. Whether it's fucking evening, nighttime, daytime, you have abs. You will have separation. If you don't have separation on your arms or anything like that, you don't have this body fat percentage. You don't really have a big amount of overhang at all. This is beach lean. This is what most people are striving to get to. Think of the physique you have in your head. If you're somebody who's not really in the fitness industry, that's what this body fat percentage looks like. What does this body fat percentage feel like? You feel pretty good for most people. We are starting to get into the territory, especially whenever the lower you get in this range, the closer you are to 10%. A lot of people aren't going to be able to get here and make gains like from this body fat percentage. It's pretty rare that you can get there, maintain there, and pack on size. Okay. Like you have to have pretty, at least okay genetics. I'd say you have to have pretty medium genetics in that spot, in that part to make, to like be at this body fat percentage and like make gains like on a like week to week basis. Okay. Some people will even start getting like brain fog and stuff like that here. But, usually it all depends. But to truly know how you feel at this body fat percentage, you have to get down to it and you have to eat at maintenance calories for a while. If you can't do that, then you're probably not one of the people who can make gains here. Probably not on the cards for you. You can definitely get here, but it will take a lot of effort. Okay. Let me give you some examples of what this body fat percentage looks like. A good example is like vshred, David Lade in this specific photo. He gets much leaner later, and Alex Eubank in this photo. That's like this. That's what a good example of this body fat percentage looks like. All right. So, women, next is 18 to 20% body fat. For women, this is like the equivalent of a shredded six pack. It's almost towards like the lower end that I would recommend or that you should go. Same with the 10 to 12% body fat for men. So how do you know when you're at this body fat percentage? You will start to lose some of your curvature. You'll start to lose some of the body fat around like the butt and stuff like that, other related areas, right? Your separations will start deepening in your muscles. Your separation will start deepening in your abs, legs, and arms. How do you feel at this body fat percentage? Kind of like with men, a lot of women will not be able to maintain this body fat percentage. You kind of have to have at least okay genetics to be okay to do that. It's really hard to maintain, really hard to stay here, really hard to make progress. Of course it can be circumvented and stuff like that, and there is ways to do it, but on average, not everybody can get here. I truly believe that almost anybody can get to the higher ends on this list, like, you know, the 27s and 27s and like that. I truly believe everybody can get there. At least mostly everybody, can get there. Technically, and by the laws of thermodynamics, anybody literally can get there. But anyways, good examples of this body fat percentage is, nutty food fiends. But yeah, men, 8 to 9%. In other words, fitness industry, obese. So this is super lean. Like, anything single digit is really, really lean. Like, most people, not even just most people in general, but most people who work out will never even be single digit lean. It's hard. It's a very hard cutoff. Like most people can get to 10 to 12% if they just like are okay and not just completely genetically handicapped. But like below that, is insanely hard. It is a very, very hard cutoff, very, very steep. Even less people can maintain this body fat percentage. You start to get brain fog really, really bad. I believe this is about the leanest I ever was. Just cause like you get really, really low in the body fat, vascularity's popping everywhere. You have a deep V cut for most people, lean. You start to lose body fat in your face. Your love handles are pretty much non-existent. You have ab veins that run from your fucking belly button down to your mushroom tip. What does this body fat percentage feel like? For most people, absolute dog shit. You have horrible energy, you have horrible brain fog, and you will not be able to maintain it. For most people, I would say. There are, of course, people who can maintain it, but it is very, very difficult. Cravings out the wazoo. Everything's pretty difficult, right? So, good examples of this body fat percentage are, kinobody. And Athlean X. And then I swear to God, bro, I need to stop with these clips. I'm not even funny. I'm just putting clips on the screen. So women, next body fat percentage is 15 to 17%. So at this stage, you are shredded, okay? Yes, you will start to have health complications. You will start to lose your curvature. You will lose pretty much all of your curves. You may even start to miss like your time of the month and other related things. You are fucking lean, like really lean. This is not sustainable. Yeah. Good examples of this body fat percentage are, Stephanie Buttermore. So, like in this photo right here. That's how lean this is, okay? So, men. So we're approaching the end of our journey. Now we're getting to the point where this isn't just like lean. This isn't just like that might not be healthy for you lean. This is it's definitely not fucking healthy for you level of lean. So next is 6 to 7% body fat. At this stage, it doesn't even look like you have body fat. Even body fat around like your organs is going to start to disappear. You have striated glutes. That's a good like indicator of if you're like lean enough, if you're at this body fat percentage. If you have striations in your glutes, you have striations in your quads, you start to get them really feathered quads going on. Also, you have a horrible brain fog. You cannot think straight. This is as lean as like a lot of like bodybuilders can get, like first stage. Obviously, you're not maintaining this body fat percentage, okay? Like, it doesn't take a genius to figure that out, but you're not maintaining this body fat percentage. How do you feel at this body fat percentage? Horrible. Your testosterone's low. Your fucking energy's low. You have horrible brain fog. Can't think straight. Usually you're using a lot of caffeine stimulants. You're hungry all the fucking time. Good examples of this body fat percentage are Virtruvian Physique and Simeon Panda.
Simeon's nutty. In my opinion, I think he is.
Are you sure about that?
So women, next is 13 to 14% body fat. So this is the leanest most people will ever get. This is absolute fucking hell. This isn't just like the leanest most people will ever get. This is the leanest most bodybuilders will ever get. Like most like women competitors will ever get. You are shredded everywhere. Like every muscle has separation in it. Just like men, the previous category, you're shredded everywhere. Okay. There is not it does, like again, to a lot of people, it doesn't even look like you have body fat really. So, once again, what does it feel like? Kind of similar to men, absolute hell, have horrible brain fog. You most certainly will not have a time of the month at this time. You would most definitely have fertility issues and stuff like that. And if you try to maintain it for a long time, you may have long-term fertility issues. Same with the previous one with body fat for men, by the way. But, a good example of this body fat percentage is like Dana Lynn Bailey. That's how fucking lean this is. So, men, next we have 4 to 5% body fat. This is like the previous, but like just worse. So this is the type of body fat to where an average person, you look like some kind of eldritch horror monster. And to a bodybuilder, you look like what they'd look up on their incognito tab. This is so lean. It's ridiculous. Okay. You don't have body fat. Really, like you're losing your like organ fat, you're losing everything. Like you are getting like there's no body fat. Obviously there's some, but like it's all around your organs, okay? It's all around your organs and it's very, very woven in, you know, like there's no real way you can point out body fat on somebody's body. You know, like the separation is so fucking deep that you could hold a piece of paper in between your abdominal. It's ridiculously lean. What does it feel like? Like I said, like the previous, but just way worse, like absolute hell. You are not maintaining it. You are not staying here. Nobody's fucking staying here. Okay. Good examples of this body fat percentage are like Greg Doucette and Cbum. on stage. That's how lean this is. Chris Bumstead, the Mr. Olympia. So, women. The women. Next is 12 to 13% body fat. So at this body fat percentage level, the only fat remaining on your body is around your uterus. It's pretty much just everything that's staying there to keep you alive. That's really it. You are the most shredded that you should ever be. You have a deep separation everywhere. Like, you have a six pack like a man, like not just like any man, but like a Jeff Cavalier man. So the good example of this body fat percentage is Eleonora Dobrynya, who is widely considered to be the world's most shredded woman. So men, next is 3 to 4% body fat. This isn't just the type of body fat percentage where you're lean. This isn't just the type of body fat where this is like dangerous. This isn't even just the body fat percentage where you're knocking on death's door. This is the type of shredded where you matched with death on Tinder and now you guys are in a Walmart parking lot. This is a ridiculously lean amount of body fat. There's only been like maybe 2 people to ever like get at this body fat percentage and like stay here for longer than like a day or even a couple of hours. Both are dead. So the good example of this body fat percentage is Helmut Strubel. You don't have body fat anywhere. You are shredded. Everywhere. The only body fat on you is essential, and that is it. So for the next section, I'm going to put men and women together because they feel very similar. They're at a similar rate, and you get there by a similar way. All that kind of stuff, right? You know when you're there for very similar reasons. For men, if you are below 3% body fat, and for women, if you are below 10% body fat, you are dead. Thank you. Subscribe.